Hey guys, this is Zach Cummings, UFC welterweight, middleweight, and light heavyweight. Check out Hungover Hand Right.
Welcome back to Hungover Hand Right. Special guest today. Turning into more like a regular guest at this point.
Guest. I'm excited to be here.
Austin Clem, pro fighter, Pink Lemonade, Clem Reaper, the King. Seth, Seth, Dylan, Jonathon. No Chad today. We're back on. We're back on our top 10s again, but this is a tougher list to make.
This one was.
I don't know about you guys, but I had a hard time with this one.
I'd say about it.
This is my first list, so I don't know how this compares to normal.
Well, top 10 champs, which if you're watching this, you should go watch that video. It'll be in the corner. It's a little easier, you know. You pretty much have top 10 in your mind.
Yeah,
you got
for sure John Jones and all those guys in there.
But this one, if you can read the title, you'll know top 10 non-champs in UFC history, meaning no Undisputed, no Interim, no BMF.
No fake belts.
And that makes it tough.
I don't like calling the Interim a fake belt, though, I will say.
No,
I'm more so referring to BMF.
Right.
You think in 10 years it'd be like no Undisputed, no Interim, no BMF, no NMF, no fucking this belt, this belt, this belt. You think they'll have like
She'll
2 or 3
go
more
back in time,
gimmicky ones?
I hope
no,
not.
I think
really hope not.
I think there's going to be more, and there's going to be more.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
More gimmicky belts and shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, slap fighting, bro. It's going to go.
Oh
it's going
my God.
to, surpass the UFC.
Did she Paige won a UD last night?
Yeah, she did.
She
I
rocked that
watched
bitch,
it.
though.
Yeah.
They like pretty much played the whole thing for free on Instagram.
Pretty much, yeah.
The fuck.
Shit's stupid. All right. Before we get into this, I wanted to go through each person, and because this is the type of list that I feel like you could take 10 MMA fans, and they're gonna have 10 different lists, 10 different things they're looking at.
Right.
So let's go each person real quick. What like the main factors that you were looking at for this list, Clem?
I was looking at the longevity, their overall record versus their UFC record, and then their opponent's record. I think sometimes people get like 2-3 title shots, just depending on who's at the top of the division that time.
Yeah,
whereas their overall record will kind of tell you, well, they were at the top for this long. They fought, their opponent's record was 758 and 300. So you know they fought basically only winners during that time frame. And so just because they're like a division that's stacked right now at 145, 155, if you go lose a title fight, you're probably going to wait a while and fight a few more times in between. So just because the division was lighter, I don't think that's fair to judge it by off of how many title shots they have per se.
It's a good point.
I agree. And the last video we did, I kind of had that mind frame going into my list, but I'm still, so I piggyback that. I'm doing the same thing, but also title shots that they've had in the UFC and the overall amount of champions that they have beaten in their entire career.
That they basically kind of sum mine up. Just kind of amount of title shots, obvious. You know, longevity in the UFC. I didn't think about like strength of schedule though.
Well,
like their opponent's records. I like that.
It kind of preaches as to what kind of tear they went on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my thing was like when I made my first like big list, it was kind of just like who jumped out at me, and then when I started getting to like narrowing it down, when I decided where everyone went, because a lot of these guys they've fought for belts and they fought guys that we probably talked about last week.
Yeah, for sure.
So they're all kind of similar in that way. So then I started really weighing like their best wins, like who had the better wins, because all these guys lost to like good guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But did they beat good guys?
Okay.
And also UFC record is important in this one. I think.
don't like my list all of a sudden.
I think the UFC. I think strictly UFC
there's some guys that are
I did the UFC record. I paid a lot of attention to.
There's some guys that are big names and stuff in the UFC, but they're like 8-8 in the UFC 7. And I took them down a little bit for that.
When I was looking at the opponent's record, like I said earlier, I did it only off of the people that they beat in the UFC. I didn't do the total because then you end up with guys like Khabib who fought. He was 15-0 fighting 0-12 guys. Like that doesn't count. So I only counted the opponent's record of the guys that they fought in the UFC.
I like that, as it should be.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I did in the last one. This one, I took a little more of a loose approach, and I took into account for guys who may have held a fucking belt in every other promotion before the UFC.
I told John I did that just a smidge.
Yeah.
I thought about that a smidge.
They're supposed to be a little more biased in this one.
I didn't really
last.
look outside the UFC, but I think this one, there's definitely the parameters are a lot
Wider.
looser,
Yeah.
wider. Yeah,
Start with Clem, number 10.
yeah. You want to start with
Oh,
number
you
10?
want to start with me? Don't look at my list.
You can start it off. I don't care. Who cares?
I don't care. So my number 10 is Anthony Smith.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Wow.
37-19 overall, 13-8 in the UFC, and his opponent's records are 386 and 149.
That's
So it's reasonable. Yeah.
That's a stat I did not go into.
His signature wins are Gustafsson and Rashad Evans.
He never
Those are
beat
two.
Gustafsson. That's a lie.
Anthony Smith.
Okay, I don't know what to tell you. Just going off of online.
And
I did not
he
even
has-
think about Anthony.
could have had a
Smith.
DQ title win.
could have.
Could
and
have.
He decided to get his
Yep.
ass whooped even more.
He would definitely be in the top 5 if he champs all time if he DQ'd title win.
Yeah, and if he wasn't a sore loser and had an excuse
I
every
like
time he
Anthony
lost.
Smith, man. He's been around for fucking ever,
Started-
dude.
Yeah,
I
he's,
like
he
needs to
lingers.
retire.
He's kind of
He needs to retire.
always a top 5, top 6 guy.
And he fights whoever, whenever.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't give a shit.
I think
I do have money
He's
against
kind
him
of-
tonight.
It's
yeah.
probably smart.
I picked Roman. Dylan picked.
I took
Anthony,
Lionheart,
but
yeah.
I
It was
think-
tough, though. I'm on the fence still.
I think Lionheart's another guy like Jorge that like half the MMA community thinks is like really legit, and then the other half thinks he's horrible.
He
Yeah.
kind of does this.
Yeah, he does.
All right, number
When he's on, he's on. Anyway, sorry.
Seth, number 10.
My number 10 is Damian Maya.
Ah, it's another. Okay.
Damian
dude,
Maya,
he's way
he,
higher
uh,
on my
Me
list.
too.
Bro, he's just so underrated in general as a fighter. I mean, the guy's got 22 wins in the UFC. He won on an insane tear. He's got 2 title shots under his belt.
How many subs does he have total? Or in the UFC?
I didn't have
11
time to put
submission
that.
wins?
Yeah,
Damn.
11 subs
Half
in
of
the
his
UFC.
wins?
I will say that I put a lot of weight on this list because, this is a difficult thing to really do. So I put a lot of weight on how many title shots the fighter has
Yeah,
had
same.
and how many champs he has beaten in his career.
Mm.
Oh, I think Maya's just underappreciated overall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that. Damian Maya, though, 22 UFC wins, bro. 2 title shots, and I think he's beaten a few.
I like
he's beaten
that.
a few champs.
I mean, some of his wins, like, he lost to good guys: Bilal, Gilbert, Usman, Colby,
Fuck, man.
Woodley.
He was in the UFC for how long at that
Mhm.
point?
A long
Yeah,
time.
he was
bro.
older, but I mean, beat Jorge, Condit, Matt Brown, Gunnar Nelson, Neil Magny.
Go up. What was it? 2007 to 21 was his 22 UFC reign. Keep going. Go up. No, go up. Up.
We talking about-
2007 to 2021.
So what?
22
Longevity.
wins and 11 losses since 2007 to 21. That's insane.
That's
And
still second to
Really
Frank Mir.
couldn't strike.
Could
Yeah.
not
No
strike
striking.
for shit.
But he was the ultimate backpack. Nobody could do anything about
Yeah.
it.
Another thing, we'll move on, but I mean, he's on the top of like or third, but top 5 of a lot of these lists,
Yes.
a lot of these stats.
I think he's a very underrated, overlooked fighter.
I
People
agree.
kind of forget about him.
Third all-time submission wins. That may be it. Total
Probably
wins? Is
is.
he on the total wins?
No.
No.
Probably used to be.
Which is
Yeah.
crazy, though.
And he got
Yeah,
surpassed.
22 is like
That,
nothing.
that list has obviously changed a lot in the last 2 years.
Yeah. All right, Dylan, 10.
Number 10, Clay the Carpenter Guida.
Wow.
I almost
thought
put
about it.
him.
I thought Clay's one of my honorable
Go to
mentions.
his record, and it speaks for himself,
He
man.
didn't make my top 20.
The
I'll tell
guy's
you that.
never... listen, he's 18 and 18 in the UFC.
Yep.
It's tough.
It is tough, but look at... He's fought everyone anywhere, dude.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And he's never in a boring fight. Very rarely has he had a boring fight.
He's
So
no
what if
G,
you
triple
lose
OG,
to
dude.
all the good guys?
They're always
Is that-
exciting, and he's always tough, and you can never count the guy
And
out.
his
dude.
cardio is insane.
Beat BJ Penn
He'll
right
get
there.
knocked out
I know
and
it's an
start
old
doing
BJ.
laps.
Yeah.
Beat Joe Lozon. All right, let's get some more names in there, Clay. Anthony Pettis, Tak Norigomi, RDA. Ever heard of those guys?
Mm.
Nate Diaz, Mac Danzig,
Shannon Gugerty.
Marcus Aurelio. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
I thought about
He
him.
fought a lot of good guys. But
Dude.
I thought about
And
him.
when you think of the UFC, like the old heads, kind of like us, he's one of the guys you think of. Him
Yeah,
and
for
Diego
sure.
for the tough finale. Like that fight it's up there.
He
It's
was-
going to be a sad day when he retires.
right.
He was definitely like one of the earliest like
Stars.
stars and just kind of like a
Memorable
fucking
guys.
caricature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Type
With
guy.
the hair hanging
Yeah.
down and
It's like a
shit.
caveman. The carpenter.
The fucking carpenter, dude. And he likes to party.
Yeah, he does. He likes the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
All right, my number 10, a guy that probably doesn't have like the biggest names as far as wins, but was on a good streak and comes from a camp that you don't ever win title fights if you train here, and that's Chad Mendez.
I love Chad Mendez.
Chad, you're 10, huh?
Yep.
I love Chad.
I got him on my list.
Now, I said earlier, like I took best wins into consideration. This was kind of like one of the exceptions because he had a great run leading up to it.
Mhm.
Lost to Aldo, but I mean everything else before getting to Aldo again was pretty much him just dominating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And he has
dominated.
hands. He's a wrestler with hands. I
And
love
I
that.
think if he was on a full camp, he might beat Connor in
Yeah.
that fight because he
Oh, yeah.
was
Mhm.
winning that fight. He
He
just
was.
gassed hard,
But
dude.
also, Connor was injured going into that fight, which doesn't help.
I mean, he
his-
was 7-0 and he beat Cub Swanson.
Good win.
in a 2010
Mhm.
Cubs.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
a dangerous Cub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro.
That's one that I mean I could definitely see him being a lot lower on people's list.
Man, I am
But-
surprised you picked that, Johnny, but I love it. I love
No,
Chad
he's on my
Mendez.
list,
He's on mine.
so we got him higher.
Wow, he's not on mine.
Really?
Mm-mm. I love him. I'm a big fan. Big fan of Chad.
Just
The only Chad I like.
yeah. Chad Money Mendez too. That's
cool.
a
yeah.
sick name.
Yeah.
Sounds
No
good.
one's ever had that
Never.
name.
And he has psoriasis, you know?
Was he
Lots of psoriasis.
was he Money before Floyd switched his to Money?
No.
Because he was Pretty Boy
Mm.
Floyd for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was
Mhm.
way back in the day.
But he's been fighting since when? Oh wait, did Floyd do that before then?
I mean, I'm wanting to say Floyd didn't know who the fuck he was in 08, though.
Well, he
you know?
definitely didn't know who he was, but
I
Probably
don't
still
know.
doesn't.
I would say that the name change was probably maybe somewhere around that time.
Because he was Pretty Boy.
Yes.
I just don't know when he. Anyway, that's completely irrelevant. But I like the Money Mendez.
Yeah. All right. 9.
He's a cutie little patootie too, by the way.
Oh yeah, he is.
Brick shit house.
Nine, was it mine?
9.
s-
Yeah.
Are we gonna do it
9.
Like
We going
last
back to
time,
me
are
or
we just going
snaking
back
it?
to-
No, we'll go
We'll snake it?
Seth and then
Okay.
Ellen
Word,
and
okay.
me.
Okay.
Number 9 for me, which I don't know about you guys. This might be higher on your list, or I'm sure you guys have thought about
This
this,
will probably be
guy.
my number 1. Go ahead.
It very well could. It very well could be. But Joseph Benavidez,
Yeah.
Oh.
number 9 for me. 4 title shots, dude.
Man, I don't have him on my list.
And he, but yeah,
Me
but dude,
neither.
but
I
he
do.
look, he only lost to what Dominic Cruz and Demetrius Johnson.
DJ.
Mhm.
I will say having Clay on there and not Joseph Benavidez is a tough look
That
for me
is.
right now.
Yeah, it is.
Joe had 4 title shots, bro.
See, that, I mean, that's a good and
It just-
a bad thing.
It
Yeah.
just sucks because
Right.
as of late, his career has not done
Yeah.
great. But neither did BJ Penns.
I mean, beat Triple C, beat Tim
Yep.
Elliott, beat
Eddie-
Ian McCall.
Eddie Wineland,
Eddie
Ian
Wineland.
McCall, Miguel Torres.
Dude, hell.
Joey was
Beat Tim Elliott too. I know that's not his signature one, as Seudo,
Yeah.
no,
but
that's
still.
a good win, and he
First
choked
round.
him out.
Yeah.
No, Tim Elliott's awesome.
Tim's hard to finish if anything else.
Oh yeah, Demetrius
And
couldn't do
dude,
it.
Sergio, I know Sergio didn't have like a super incredible UFC run, but Sergio went on to do some big things
Yeah.
in Bellator and shit after that.
Yeah,
Split decision loss.
I don't think you guys are gonna like my number. 9.
Benavidez,
I don't think you guys are gonna like my
he's just
9.
one of those guys that kind of people kind of forgot because it's a tiny little weight class that back in the
The
day.
whole I used to fuck guys like you in high school just throws me for a loop every time.
I think that's like add points for that. 'Cause that was
But that right
hilarious.
there, that's like one of the best things like Tito Ortiz may have said.
that's super
you know?
Tito esque.
Yeah, like
He
I mean,
wants-
there's
I
way
wanna
worse
outlive my
guys who
kids.
fucked up than that.
What?
I want to outlive my kids.
yeah. So yeah, Joey, he deserves his dues. He
Yeah.
deserves his respect. He was a really, really good fighter.
Another alpha male guy that can't win a title fight
Exactly. Exactly.
ever.
But got all the chances in the world.
Yeah. Fig fucked him up bad.
My number 9.
Yeah.
But Fig beat him, but he
Missed weight.
missed weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He beat him again after that, but
right.
Stockton Zone 209.
Nate,
No way! I
Diaz.
cannot believe you put
Nate
Nate on
Diaz.
there. I'm surprised you put Nate
He
on
beat
there.
Connor at Connor's peak.
he's got like
That's fair.
He's got 25 plus UFC fights.
Say Connor.
he's got like some of the
He's
best
16,
wins.
11 UFC, 10 submissions, 2 knockouts.
He's got some of the best wins and some of the
There's a
worst
Stockton
losses
slap
on
right
here.
there.
Probably like
I will say when he goes out there and does his thing, he looks good, but he's got some tough L's for sure.
yeah. I mean,
And
Josh
he-
Thompson.
And he also
finished
just,
him.
he does a lot of like
Stun gun beat him.
turning around and showing you his ass and
Yeah.
leaning on the cage and doesn't fight you.
If he was a little
and-
more,
That's Nate.
if he was
That's
more,
Nate.
No, that's Nate.
no, Nate does it too.
Nate does it
I would
way
say
more.
I would say Nick does it more.
No.
Nate will go up against the fence and shit, but Nick was the one laying down against Anderson Silva and all that shit.
Yeah, that was kind of
When we were
gangster.
there against Leon, he would like turn around and show him his ass, and then he would like start walking
All
towards
right,
him.
all
And then he
right,
would just
all
be
right.
like this. He'd like wave him off and just start walking.
But
like
just
he's gonna
look
walk out of the
look
cage.
at the resume here: Gray
I
Maynard,
get it.
Jim Miller, Donald Cowboy,
The Cowboy fight,
Takanori Gomi, Marcus Davis.
the
Cowboy
Cowboy and the
won.
Jim Miller fight, or his best win.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
He embarrassed Cowboy, man. Cowboy just could not get going. He just got straight 1-2.
And they had heat on each
So
other.
if Nate had
that.
like a Chad Mendez mindset,
oh man, he would
like
have been
in the cage, how would like
he would have been champ.
his 11
probably.
losses in the UFC? What would that number be?
Oh,
I think it'd be
Bet it's down to 6 or 7.
It'd be skewed
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But
For
you know,
sure.
he also did lose
I
mostly
really,
by decision.
I wanted him to fight Dustin so bad because Dustin was going to
Yeah.
beat the
Dustin
fucking
would
break
kill
out
or
of
be
him,
killed, and I've
dude.
never been killed.
Dustin would have beat his ass by decision really bad.
Oh yeah, that's another thing about Nate. You can't get him out of there hard.
Can't get him
Has
out
he
of
been
there.
finished?
Josh
One
Thompson,
time, Josh
Thompson.
Thompson. That's right.
which
Head
is
kick,
weird.
but it was kind of a TKO though. He wasn't out cold, but he was
Right.
definitely fucked up.
yeah.
He scored me a lot of points for the Connor dub, and he arguably beat him the second time around too.
Right. All right,
That's my number 9.
number 9 for me. This one's
Surprising.
probably going to surprise you guys a lot. I think
I'm already shocked.
he actually, in fact, he fights tonight.
Oh,
Oh wait, no, he's won.
He goes by the name T City,
Oh,
Brian Ortega, and I'll tell you why.
That's a really good one,
I
actually.
don't mind
But
it.
wait, he never
No,
held any
that's
belts,
really
huh?
good.
No, he lost to Volk
Yeah.
and to Max.
And
was Max a title fight?
Was Yair an interim? Yeah, it was.
Correct.
Was
Max
it-
was a title fight.
Yeah, the first Yair, I don't think it was interim.
Where Max was literally showing him how to strike during the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
He's like, "Hey, do
he's
this."
he's
Yeah.
only lost to Volk and Max and Yair, but then he beat Yair after that.
Beat the
No,
shit
that's
out
good.
of
I
him.
like that one.
I don't mind it.
Korean Zombie, Frankie Edgar, Cub, Moicano,
Old Frankie.
Clay
Edgar.
Guida.
Diego Brandao.
And I mean, if he wins tonight, he's definitely,
I'm a big Diego Lopez guy.
yeah.
Oh, I love
I think
Diego.
he's awesome.
I love Diego.
If this was like best weight cutters list,
He's-
Ortega's not on there.
he's not on
He's on
there.
the bottom.
Supposedly he was bulking to try. He was trying to put size on to make the move up to 55.
I remember hearing
when he
that.
got the call.
Yeah.
That's what he claims.
yeah.
And
I don't trust
we
that guy at
talked about
all.
this, but I feel like the UFC said, "Hey, we need a co-main event. We'll throw whatever money at you want."
Try to make
Just
the
to-
weight.
However,
Right.
this is best case scenario for the fans because I think it being a lightweight fight makes it a better fight. Personally, with Diego, he's a
I
good
will
light- he'd be a
say
good lightweight.
you would think Diego might be the little bit of a smaller guy, being a true 45er, not going up.
Yeah,
I just think
he looked pretty close to old T City.
I just think
It
he's
just-
younger and cuts weight better.
it sucks that he had to because he cut below 55. He was like down to 151, I think.
T City.
No,
Diego.
Diego,
Oh.
when he got told.
I thought Ortega was like around there too. Like he
may have
tried.
been. He may have been.
That's what Dana said. Anyways, he said they got the call, and he said he literally cannot cut any more weight.
I was a huge T City fan at the beginning.
I was too, but then he kind of got like too cool for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just didn't like his personality on Tough.
He started banging Tracy Cortez, and
Yeah,
I mean that should give you a big head.
And then you kind of see all like the punk ass like hood, antics within him. That
he
kind of
shaved his head.
yeah.
And he was on Tough
But he
trying
beat the
to.
zombie when he shaved his
He
head.
was on
though.
Tough trying to talk shit to Volk, and it's like, how do you talk shit to Volk?
Yeah,
There's nothing you can say to that guy
Yeah, it's just
other
like-
than I love you.
Yeah.
My number 9 is the California Kid, Uriah Faber.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that low?
That is my
crazy.
number 9.
That's
Ah.
crazy.
35-11. His UFC record's only 11-7, so he's damn near barely above 500.
5 title
Yeah, but
shots.
four or five of those are title fights.
I wouldn't
5
call
of
that
'em.
barely.
Fair. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I get you. I'm just telling you, he's my number 9.
You're a little
Opponent's
disrespectful,
overall
yeah.
record is 404, 158.
You're wild for that.
His signature wins are Cruz and Ricky Simone.
Cruz and WC. Which is fine, but
fair. Yeah,
Still
fair.
counts. Still counts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I have him at, since I did a top 20, I had him at
Now, I understand.
17.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
John, what'd you say?
I had him at
Some
17.
sense over here.
You know why? You know why? Because look at his wins.
What?
Look at his wins.
Yeah,
cares?
agreed.
Bro,
He
Brad
ran
Pickett in the UFC, Frankie Saenz, Francisco Rivero, Alex Caceres, Michael McDonald, Yuri Alcantara,
Michael
Scott
McDonald's a good
Jorgensen,
one.
Ivan Minjavar.
listen, yeah, but
He
You
can't
listed
help
6
that.
people and you said one is a good one.
Where this is where
There you go.
Eddie Wineland, I mean.
this is where it's like his career, like because the height of his career was WC, right?
He held
Like,
the WEC belt for over 2.5 years.
exactly. Now it's not UFC. We all know that, right? But I have to take that into account for this.
I'm not mad
list.
at him at 9.
So he got, I believe, 4 title shots.
5.
Is it 5?
Mm,
I think it's just
Are you
4.
talking about WEC too?
No. I think he fought Dom 3 times. I'm talking about just UFC.
He fought Dom twice in the UFC.
Right. No.
And then he lost to Hennenbrow for the belt. Was
Yeah.
it twice for the belt?
Yes. Interim. But yeah. One
Anyways, my
one
point
was
is
interim.
3 of those were
Sorry.
close decisions.
It's 4 title shots. It's not 5.
in the
And
UFC.
Hennenbrow put him away in their rematch, but all 3 of his other title losses are like competitive, like pretty close fights.
Yeah, but
Like he was never out of the fight.
he's the ultimate alpha male not winning title fights because he lost in the WEC to Aldo. He lost to Mike
Aldo,
Brown in the WEC.
And that was like the most dangerous Aldo ever right there.
He lost to Mike Brown twice in the WEC for the belt.
He just, he choked under the big lights,
Yeah.
but he was a
Going
phenomenal
off of his UFC
fighter.
performance.
No,
That's what I'm.
Phenomenal fighter.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. I'm actually a really big fan of him.
I think
Same.
there's got to be a little bit of like
And when you
popularity involved in this list too.
When you
and
hear-
he's definitely up there in that.
California, when you hear
He-
that,
He's the godfather of the lightweight,
Come
the
on.
little guys who put little guys on
you
the
hear
map.
that shit drop, dude?
Yeah, no, I get you.
yeah.
He's a Hall of Famer
So,
legend.
so did you put him up on your list due to his walkout
Yeah,
song?
strictly
Okay.
for Tupac. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that was everyone's 9?
Yeah.
Well, at least he's on your list, and John's a fucking
Yeah, that's
weirdo.
wild.
You're a
That's wild.
fucking weirdo
Dude,
for that.
His win, like I said, I took who'd you beat into consideration,
I guess.
like heavily.
Understandable.
Am I at 8 now?
Yeah,
I mean, he's like Michael Bisping's number 3 on this list.
Number 8, Kenny Kenflo Florian.
Oh, I kept him off my list.
He's
He fought across 4 weight classes. Fought for the belt against Jose, and then called it a career after that.
yeah. Literally, his last fight was
Yeah.
Jose
he has
Aldo.
3 title shots, 12-5 in the UFC.
And
pretty
all
good
but
record.
3 of his fights were in the UFC.
He's my number 11, by the way.
I got him at 15.
God, you guys disrespect. It's Kenflo.
I love Ken Flo. Great on the desk too.
Dude, who can fight from 45 all the way to 85? Like, it's
Remarkable.
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and he
BJ.
does
BJ
have. I mean,
Chris Lieben,
BJ
that's
Penn,
a
BJ
big
Penn
one.
fought at heavyweight.
Joe
I
Lozon,
would say he's got good losses, but he does have some good wins. Too.
Roger Huerta, Joe Daddy Stevenson.
Dean Thomas.
I miss
Dean's
when
up.
they
Tak
announced,
Norigomi. God,
like,
Tak
had a name
Norigomi's
for
a-
each
a-
UFC pay-per-view.
Do what?
I miss
Yeah.
when they had names for the UFC
Seek and
pay-per-view.
destroy.
Declaration.
Declaration.
Stacked.
Yeah.
Seek and destroy.
Unstoppable.
Yeah, eventually Bill Burr has a joke about that.
Oh, does he really?
About the UFC and having names for all of their old events.
God, they need to start doing that again. I mean,
Ken
I know
Flo's
it would
just-
take like
that's part of
5
Bill Burr's-
events to
that's
like
part of
run
Bill
out of
Burr's
ideas,
joke.
but
He's like, they're just running out of fucking names, and he starts
Yeah.
rattling off funny shit.
A little nostalgia went into play with this one because he's one of the pioneers. He's one of the old school guys.
yeah,
Yeah, I love Ken Flo.
Yeah,
man.
he's awesome.
He-
And he's a fucking sweetheart of a guy.
I almost put him as my number 10 instead of Damian Maya, but
You definitely should have.
22 wins.
Yeah, because Damien should have been higher on your list.
yes.
Maybe.
All right, my number 8. Not the most exciting style to watch on the planet. Some would say the worst,
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
but in his heyday, dominant. Only lost to like the best motherfuckers.
Dominic Cruz.
No, he's a champ.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Say it. I know who it is.
John Fitch.
Yeah.
I
Love
John
thought
number eight?
about John Fitch.
John Fitch. Yeah.
I thought about John Fitch. Also, easily still to this day one of the best cardios in the business.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, he what 14-3 in the UFC. Losses to
which is insane.
Damian Maya, Johnny Hendricks, and GSP.
And
Johnny
and
Hendricks.
roided.
Thiago Alves
Age.
and Diego Sanchez.
Maybe,
Juiced
yeah.
up.
real juiced up.
Juiced
Johnny
up big
Hendricks.
rig knocked him out, but
Now, yeah, the wins.
that's when he had the
they're not
going
going to knock your socks off name value wise. Thiago Alves.
Dude, he didn't lose, though.
Yeah.
But that was your whole argument on your last one.
What?
The wins that the
I know.
person got.
It's just, but that's the thing. Everyone's
Yeah.
different, and I gotta. But I think just that because a lot of these guys on my list had like, they were like 10-7 in the UFC or 18-18 or something,
Yeah.
and he was
Shout out to Clay.
14-3.
That's really
That's
good.
tough.
It's really good.
All right, 8.
I always liked Fitch.
Also,
Me
John
too.
Finch. 30-7 overall, 14-3 in
Finch.
the UFC,
Finch.
399 and 212
So you both had him.
opponent record. That is my number 8.
That's
Nice.
a good one. It's a good one.
I
He
thought- I
was
figured he
my
would-
number 12, by the way.
I thought he'd be like way high on my list.
He's way high on mine.
Oh, higher?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought I'd be like the highest on him.
No. I was a big John Fitch guy.
I was
back in the day.
too, but
I'm biased.
He's
as
number
fuck.
12. He's number 12.
He was one of my guys.
number 12 for me.
He got his head flopped on the thing right after the UFC. Remember that?
Yeah, that was disrespectful as well on the referee's part. Josh
Yeah.
Berkman was like, I'm not even going to, I'm going to choke him out unconscious and then just flip him over and
I can't
walk away.
It's just shocking that.
It was fucking Mazzagatti, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That dumbass.
Looking back, like at that time, how does John Fitch lose this Josh Berkman?
That's
That's
odd.
crazy.
That's odd.
Yeah.
And also, fun fact, Fitch was the World Series of Fighting champion for a while at 170
Yeah.
after the UFC.
Lost to Palhares. Palhares like wouldn't let go of his knee bar.
Oh,
He's
yeah. Every
such a
submission
fuck,
ever.
Fuck that
Paul
guy.
Harris is a piece of shit. I said it.
Yeah, he is. Everyone knows it. He should know it.
Clean though, clean as fuck.
Be sure you tag
Not
him
on
in this.
anything.
He broke all the rules.
Yeah. All right, where we at? 8 for Seth.
Wait. Did you say you're 8?
I didn't say my 8.
Okay, because I said it first. Yeah, you're right.
Gotta remember here. Okay. Number 8, which might be pretty low on compared to a lot of people's lists out there.
He's gonna say like Felice Herrig or something.
Nick Diaz.
Okay.
Number 8.
He
4 title shots, beat 8 champions.
Stayed off my list. 7-7 in the UFC.
Yep.
and
I
he didn't
get
fight.
it.
He didn't. He was not very active.
He was in the UFC and then he left the UFC. And
I know, but he got kicked out of the UFC for weed, bro.
I would
That's
argue
bullshit.
He was
He's a legend.
He's a bigger deal in Pride.
Mhm.
How many times he fight in Pride? Maybe not.
I mean, he's definitely
No,
fought.
Strike Force was his
Or-
big one.
Didn't he fight in Pride?
Well,
I'm
he
sure
fought in
he did.
everything, but
It said Dream up
Yeah,
there.
Pride
Okay,
once.
I thought he
Look,
fought more than that.
look, the whole
I'm
legend
stupid.
the whole
Edit
legend
that out.
status has to take in account. I've always loved Nick Diaz. I've been on and off of the Nate train many times and
Mostly off.
Mostly off. Nick, I love him. And he's still doing the goddamn thing.
When
Not
he's-
very well, but he's still
when-
doing it.
When
He's
he
doing it
slept
in a couple
Robbie,
months.
Yeah.
he slept Robbie. That was
That was nuts.
nasty.
Paul Daly fight?
Yeah,
He knocked Paul Daly out when Paul Daly was knocking everyone out.
Paul Daly's a little cunt too, though.
But one of the worst left hooks in the business.
yeah,
Yeah, like worse.
Best.
Yeah,
worse for you.
for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
you talking about Simtex?
Yes, that's exactly
Sick,
what I'm talking about.
Sick fuck.
It
So
is.
yeah, Nick, obviously there's some bias in there. There's some like taking just for his whole career and his name and his legend all in there. I understand he's got a lot of losses, but also he got robbed in a shitload. Robbed is kind of a harsh way to put it, but he lost a lot of close decisions.
Right.
A lot of his losses are decisions, and they were wars.
He's not on my list, but I definitely looked into it.
I mean,
for sure.
like I said, there's kind of an aura factor
Yeah.
that you could definitely use in this list.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's a legend. He kind of changed the whole MMA game. He put it on a new level. He's done a lot.
Number where are we at now?
7.
7.
So you're doing 6?
Yeah.
Or, no, you're
No,
doing
you're
7.
doing
Sorry.
Does it mean? Or
Yep.
did you go already?
I did 8.
Oh, okay. 7 for me.
Yep.
All right. Somebody in this room is gonna love this one.
Oh boy.
Is it gonna be me?
Never fought for a belt, but has a really good UFC record and has beaten some really good guys and is basically like always banging and just
You better
in
not
wars.
be putting Gus this low on your list.
No.
Okay, good.
Neil Dariush.
There you go. Fuck yeah.
Ooh.
I thought about Benny. I almost put him on there, but
Wait, did Gus ever hold the belt?
No.
Interim?
Mm-mm.
he's top 3.
We're sure
baby.
about this.
Yes, he's everybody's top 5.
I was not aware of that.
You guys watched Michael Bisping's top 10 non-UFC champs, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh man.
Well, my list might
No, but
be,
I should have before
my
I
list
made
might be
this
fucked,
list,
'cause I
apparently.
thought Guess was an interim champ at one point for some
Well.
reason.
No,
I mean, he's not on my list.
Okay.
So
that's crazy, John.
No, I would have had him at. He might have broke the top 10 for me if I would. If
Might have.
I thought he was interim at some point, dude. That's my bad.
What
My
are
bad.
you guys doing, man? That's my favorite fighter of all time.
I didn't-
Fuck you guys.
Sorry, I didn't even consider him because I thought he won.
Fuck you, Dale.
I thought he was the interim. That's my fault. My fault.
Benil's 16, 6 and
Still
1 in the
change it.
UFC. I mean, he's literally in 2022 beat Mateus Gamrot,
I like Benil.
beat Carlos Diego Ferreira. We just saw him kick the shit out of some Polish guy.
He getting kind of chinny though.
Benil.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's super
now he
shitty
is,
now,
yeah.
but he wasn't. He was.
And he's gray. Homie's gray.
Yeah, I
beat-
love him.
Beat Michael Johnson in 2015. Beat Jim Miller 2015.
Ever heard of him?
Beat
Beer
Carlos
Crochet.
Diego Ferreira again. Lost to Stripper Ramsey. That's
Beat
tough.
Rocco.
Yeah, yeah.
Rocco's, he's no punk.
No.
Stripper Ramsey was kind of good coming out of tough though.
Yeah. Like I said,
love
UFC
Benny.
record is important on my list at least. So-
16-6 is an awesome record.
And also, Benil's like so slow that every fight's a war, and he's always getting hit. I mean, so it's fun,
All right.
He's always fun to watch. Unless
Number
he's
7?
7.
knocked out.
7.
Joseph Benavidez.
All right.
16-6 over UFC opponents that had a 430, 158 record. So he beat Cejudo and Tim Elliott.
Anytime I hear his name, that's all I
Yeah.
can think of. Is
That's a
I
good
used to know
slot.
guys
7.
like you in high school.
Yeah.
That's a
That's
good
all
slot
I
for
hear.
him to be in. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And he's married to Megan.
Megan, yeah.
Oh, hi,
O'Leary.
Megan.
That's a couple points on
Yeah.
the resume
Like,
there.
who cares about his career at that point?
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
But he also might have one of the just most embarrassing, sad knockouts.
DJ.
Yeah.
Went on quite the run right there.
He just started
Oh,
screaming
yeah.
while he was like out
Yeah.
Have
cold.
you seen that, Clem?
When Joey
When
got knocked out.
Fig
bad.
knocked him out, and he woke up. It was like in an empty arena somewhere, and he woke up screaming.
I don't think I saw that.
Oh,
It was
Well,
weird.
I'm not gonna play it now, but I'll show you after. He just
I'm intrigued.
wakes up screaming his head off.
Number 7, Seth.
Man, already? Jesus. Okay.
We
Well, we
were-
already talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're starting to.
Okay, this one was tough because, technically this guy is the greatest of all time.
Okay.
He's never lost a
I
fight.
wonder who this is.
So,
He's never lost. A
he's
fight.
never lost a fight. He's pretty much been the best fighter of all time in every organization of all time. So that would be Chael Sonnen.
That's who I knew you were going with. That's who I knew you were going to say.
Chael did not make my list.
Son.
Me neither.
He didn't make my
I wanted
Me
to
either.
just because it's Chael.
Yeah, but dude.
And the P is for
But look who
People's
he's-
Champ.
7-7 in the
Seven and
UFC.
seven.
I don't
In
care.
fact,
Look who he's
2 and
beat.
3 in Bellator.
Listen to me. Everybody shut.
Throwing 2 big
Everybody shut.
promotions.
This is
You have
my
an
pick. Let me
upside down
talk about
record.
it.
All right.
He has
Sell
2
me.
title shots and he's beat 8 champions. 8 champions.
He did. I mean, Shogun,
Fair.
The Count, Brian Stan, Nate Marquardt, Yushin Okami. Paulo,
Wait, 8.
Paulo's
like,
a good one.
8 champs, not like just in the UFC.
No, his career.
Yeah,
I said that at the beginning.
He
of
beat
this.
Jason Mayhem Miller, like one of his first fights of his career.
Yes, he beat Miller.
Just a lot of red on here is the only
Like
problem.
right there, his third fight.
He's
He
never
beat- or
lost.
no, second
he
fight.
said.
He's the greatest of all time, and he's not in your guys' list.
He's from the mean streets of West Lynn.
Yeah.
The fucking bad
He was
guy.
on like my 40-man roster and he didn't make
but
the cut.
but
the
look,
American gangster.
the man set the blueprints for trash talk. He still to this
Right.
day does it better than anybody.
He does.
Even over Connor. I give him the
Fuck
edge. on-
yes. Yeah.
Connor's top 3 though. I give him the edge over Connor on just trash talk, getting fans to either love him or hate him. But either way, he's making more money from the.
What's
hate.
cool about Chael is he does it clean too, though.
And he clean. And
You know
it's-
what I mean?
Yeah,
Chael's a better trash talker as a retired guy than Connor is as an active guy right now.
Right.
Probably the most like egregious trash talk he ever said was saying that he was going to slap Anderson's wife on the ass and tell him to go make him a sandwich.
And
But that still is not even that bad.
And the only person I know that makes money with their mouth is Tito's ex-wife.
Yeah, ex-wife, Jenna
That's-
Jameson, the
that's-
porn
that's
star.
pretty
Nogueira
tough.
But
brothers
that's a fact, though.
trying
That's not even a diss. That's just actual
The
fact.
Nogueira brothers trying to feed a bus a carrot, thinking it was a horse.
Yeah,
You're telling me that country has computers?
it's like there's no dentists in favelas.
All right, where we at? 7 for Dylan?
7 for me. Gray Maynard.
Hey, Gray's a good one. I thought about
Legendary
Gray.
fights against Frankie.
Really good run up to that point. Really good.
Love Gray.
And one of those
The
was
bully, baby.
The first one was a split draw, I believe.
Jim Miller.
Look at this here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what a run.
Look, he beat Kinflo.
Dennis Seaver, Frankie Edgar, Rich Clemente, Jim Miller, Roger Huerta, Nate Diaz, Ken
That's a
Flo.
hell
That's
of a run.
hell
Yeah,
of
it
a
is.
run.
Split draw with Frankie.
And then
But hold on, you skip go his first one. I know it's not a name, but look, he won in the first 9 seconds, round 1,
Yeah.
to a punch. So
UFC Fight Night 11.
11.
When was his last title fight against Frank? Where'd it go?
Right here.
2011. UFC 136. And that was I know he got finished, but that was a crazy fight too.
Yeah.
Yes. Only guy to ever knock himself out, get up first, and then win the fight.
It really sucks that because I mean
Got slammed in the
he'll still be like talked about for years and years and years, but only because of the Frankie trilogy.
Right.
That's it.
Which is bullshit,
Yeah.
in my opinion, because he's had an amazing career. I loved the guy. He was one of my OGs back when I first started watching.
Doesn't have the
MMA.
most fights though. Didn't like he's like 14 and 6, something like
Yeah.
that.
He's my number 13 on my list.
13 and
by the
7.
way.
I mean,
13 and 7.
had a tough run there at the end, but
Yeah.
But don't they all?
Yeah.
I mean, he was wrestling and shit way like before the UFC. He
yeah.
kind of came into MMA late, I
And
think.
he was a champion wrestler.
Yeah.
I like Gray.
Yeah, Gray's awesome.
Kind of a cool name.
So-
Like, who names their kid Gray?
Yeah, cool name.
With an A. People need to start doing with an E because I've never seen that, you know?
No.
What?
Gray with an E.
Oh, and the name?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, sure. I don't.
Where are we at? 6 for Clem.
Am I the one that is it me? Cool.
I said Dariush at 7.
Claim at 6.
Seth's boy Gustafsson. That's
Ooh.
where I have.
Gustafsson. I love how you say that.
Well, that's how most people
Alexander.
say it.
That's where I have him.
Alexander Gustafsson.
He went 10-8 in the UFC. Opponent's record was 392, 125, 18-8 overall. He beat Glover Teixeira,
You
Jan
goddamn right.
Blachowicz,
That's
You're
a
goddamn right he did.
that's a saltier UFC record than I thought he'd have.
Yes.
A little bit. Yeah. Play the
Everybody
factor.
fuck off. Look at who he's beat.
I'd say. Well, he's also.
He beat Matt Hamill for
Go
God's
look at
sake.
the 8 nerds he lost to.
DC threw his ass like a frisbee.
Yeah.
though.
Listen, he took DC and John Jones to those are those two guys' hardest fights.
I agree.
This
down.
is one where like the losses are
that was a
almost as impressive as the
That's a
wins.
split to DC.
Like who he lost to.
Yeah.
Split decision to
Dude,
DC.
he,
is wild.
he was working DC in that fight.
The John Jones rematch was a little tougher for him, but the
he
first
got choked
fight,
out in the third round.
The first fight was crazy.
But the first fight, he was beating John Jones. The only guy to actually be beating John Jones.
A lot of people say that was John Jones, like at his height of partying and like.
That's
doing
what
blow.
John Jones said to everyone else. He said, "Oh, I came in there, I underlooked Gus." But listen, he would have won that fight if it weren't for that crazy spinning elbow from John Jones that hit him flush and clean. That would have knocked a lot of guys out, by the way.
So I actually I was going to put him higher until I saw his overall record, but he was he finished 10-8, but he was 10-4 before a 4-fight skid.
God.
So if he was
Right.
10-4 in the UFC, all of a sudden, I mean,
A
he's
little
top
higher.
4 kind of a thing.
Also
for me, I think.
this, the first and only guy at the time to take down both Daniel Cormier and John Jones. The first guy to ever
Is
take
he-
them down.
Is he retired?
Kind of.
He hadn't fought in 2
Well,
years.
he had one he set up and it got canceled, and
His last win was against Glover in 2017.
yeah, but this guy was
Yeah.
on billboards in Sweden, man. He's like
he's a big deal over
he's
there.
a hero over there, and he's just a fucking badass motherfucker. He's a handsome son of a gun. 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", just bad bitch, dude. I fucking love him. He's my favorite.
He is a bad bitch.
Tall glass of water.
Handsome tall glass of Swedish water from the mountains.
6 to Dylan.
6 for me. I don't even know what I have right now. Oof. I don't know if I like this one.
Oh,
I know you, Michael.
Yoel?
Yoel Romero.
What? Really?
9-4 UFC.
Yoel's on my list. Are you kidding me?
yeah.
9-4 UFC, 7 knockouts, lost to Bobby Nux and Izzy for his 2 title shots. And he won $4 million for a tainted supplement case from the company that fucked him up and made him piss hot.
It's true.
He bankrupted that company.
I'm gonna wait for all my stats on him because I got a lot.
I think
whenever
this
he's
is
on my list.
this is definitely one that I
I can't believe
overlooked and
he's not your
missed.
list,
He
John.
took Bobby Nux and Izzy to a fucking.
I had him on my big list, but for some reason I didn't keep moving him on.
No one wanted to fight this guy.
Here's
fucking
one thing.
nobody.
Here's exactly, and I'm glad you said that because here's one thing that I wasn't going to say when I put him up on my list is Michael Bisping kind of ducked him,
Yes.
and if he would have beat the brakes off of Michael Bisping,
It was like Yoel Romero
and he
or
would have
Dan
been
Henderson.
champ, and therefore he would have been champ, and therefore he wouldn't be on this list.
If you're Bisping, yeah, I will fight Hendo over that
Yeah.
freak any day.
Yeah.
At that time,
Bisping, I'm not gonna lie, I hate to say it because I love Bisping, and he deserved his belt, but he was ducking.
I
Yeah.
would
He
have.
was ducking Yoel Romero.
If you can, and you're that old, and you basically shouldn't have won the belt to begin with, you might as well.
Yoel's older than Bisping.
Yeah.
The
but-
Weidman and Rockhold knockouts are absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the Weidman one.
Soldier of God, and then he salutes and stomps around the fucking cage.
He might be 65 years old. for all we know.
Yeah, we don't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't have a birth certificate.
He fought in February
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And won.
Yeah.
Beat the, yeah.
Against a big motherfucker.
Beat John Jones' toughest opponent.
Well,
Second toughest.
6 to you.
6 to me. Another one Seth's gonna like. Gegard Mousasi.
Damn, man.
Don't tell me you did not put him on
He's
your
not
list.
on there.
You guys did not put Gegard in. Oh my god.
He's not on there.
You guys are
a good
silly
one, though.
fuckers.
He's got
Wow.
a
Son of a bitch.
good record. I mean, not only
Yeah.
12 fights, but 9-3.
I just feel like he went in the UFC for long enough.
Doesn't
no, but
matter.
I mean, wins in the UFC against
But when he was, look,
Oh,
who,
go
he did-
back
look
up.
who he destroyed
Yeah,
when
he
he
did.
this
was.
is Bellator stuff, but
Look
Chris
who-
Weidman, Uriah Hall, Vitor, Thiago Santos, Talis Latis, Costa Philippou. That's kind of a good one.
It's a good one.
Hendo, Mark Munoz, Latifi.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and let's
OSP.
Hendo. Oh, he beat
Yeah,
Hendo.
okay, you got me on one. But
Come
then he
on,
goes
bro.
to a draw with the Dean of Mean, Keith Jardine.
Keith Jardine's no punk. Keith Jardine's scary, man.
he beat Mark Hunt in 2009.
beat Mark Hunt.
He did some weird shit over in Japan. I'll give you that.
He beat Jockery in 08.
Guys, he's way higher on my list, so I'm going to wait.
No, you're right. I slept on him.
You slept
I will-
hard on him.
I will
I did too.
admit.
I truly think this. I think that he is the number one most underrated fighter of all time in MMA.
I slept on him. What's his overall record? 46 and something.
Oh, it's stupid.
49-9.
49 and 9.
Yeah.
This is one where, like, if it was like, okay, top
Also-
UFC fighters based upon their non-UFC fights,
outside
he'd be
UFC,
like number
yeah.
one.
Right.
Also, he fought in K1, right? He fought in Pride.
Pride.
He was champ in Bellator, champ in PFL.
No, they released him.
Oh yeah, they fucked him. Yeah, he said it was the worst organization you've ever fought for. No, listen, this guy is hands down, in my book, in my opinion, the most underrated fighter of all time.
You've been on his cock for a
I've been
while.
on his cock for
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
I
What
said
a
that
run he
in our
had right
probably
there.
second podcast we ever did. I said
Mhm.
that.
What did you say?
He said,
Said, what a run.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's
Dennis
incredible.
Kang, Melvin Manhoof.
And the guy's got no holes in his game. His striking's insane. His
No,
wrestling's insane. His
he's good.
jiu-jitsu's
And he's good
insane.
everywhere.
His cardio's insane.
Yeah.
He's like ice cold. He's just
Yeah,
like
fuck,
does not
man.
give a fuck.
I slept
got-
on him.
I got Clay Guida on my
He's
list.
our yeah. You got Clay Guida on this over Gegard Mousasi, bro.
18 and 18 UFC though.
But listen,
son.
listen, 49 and 9 and 49 9 and 2. That two, those should be wins. So he should be 51 and 9.
I'm so I apologize for my.
Yeah,
Why should those have been wins?
Didn't he like knee Weidman
Because
in the face in New
Yes.
York, and it was like their first event in
Yeah,
New
yeah,
York?
and he
yeah.
knocked him out. He fucking killed his ass.
And
And
then
then
they-
they did a
no
no
contest or something.
Yeah, that's
He fucked Weidman up, dude. He fucked him up, and
Yeah.
he single-handedly changed Weidman's career. Weidman's in dog shit since then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Say Yoel.
Yoel.
Well,
Yoel
okay,
changed his
okay.
whole.
But that was like literally back to back, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Those two fights happened
this
at the
says
same
win.
Yeah, they overturned it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
So then that's not one of the two.
Yeah,
I guess
he's been
not.
fighting.
there was a draw
Now you're just
against.
making shit up
He's been
over
fighting
here.
for like 300 years. Who knows?
No,
Keith Jardine draw.
It's probably early. Right there.
Gilson.
Third fight.
Draw. Netherlands regional.
Netherlands regional.
All right.
He's Armenian and Dutch, and he's just a bad
Where am I
motherfucker,
at?
bro.
I
Is it
think
me?
I think no, I said Gegard. I think we're Clem now.
At 5?
6.
Oh, you said Gegard. Sorry, Seth would shut
Who
the fuck
started?
up
No,
about him. I thought he said
Six,
him.
was
Did
Alex
you
for
start?
me.
I know. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Fuck.
I'm
That was
sorry.
Gus for me.
Okay, so then we got 5 to you.
Go.
then.
5 to me.
I'm sorry.
Barry Jerry.
Number 5 for me.
You think you're hot shit?
Nobody. We have not talked about this guy in the last couple seconds. Alexander Gustafsson is my number 5.
Wow. I
Okay.
thought he'd be a lot higher.
I thought he'd be higher
Well,
than that too.
I was trying not to be biased because the guys I have ahead of him.
I think once we get to repeat and we just burn through it.
Yeah, because
Yeah, but let me make sure there's nothing I didn't say about my boyfriend.
Do you know who's on billboards?
Yeah, he's on billboards.
He's Swedish too. I don't know if you.
He is Swedish. He's 6'5". He's handsome devil.
His hands up. Yeah, okay.
I thought he was
He's-
6'6".
Tall glass of water.
Well, maybe 6'6" in a mugshot or something. But
He toughest fight for John Jones ever and DC.
I need everybody to shut your mouths.
And
All right,
he's-
it's fine. We covered it. Gus is 5.
All right, number 5 for me, Chad Money Mendez.
Wow,
that seems high.
God, your list is wild today.
Nah, I think you can argue that he deserves to be there for sure.
He deserves to be in top 10, but
He did
Well, fuck,
again.
where'd you guys have him 7 or 8? Like
you
I'm
didn't
not
have,
far
you
off.
didn't have Gegard in your
I had
list,
him
so
10.
that's crazy.
Sorry, man. He didn't have the tenure in the UFC for my standards, I guess.
Good,
He only beat all the best middleweights.
I know.
good losses, decent wins at best.
Nick Lentz, the Carpenter, the damage, Darren Elkins.
Yeah,
Oh,
is that like a good win?
Of
I mean,
course.
for a
2013,
wrestler?
Darren Elkins. Yeah. And he's a wrestler, but he has like 6-7 knockouts in the UFC.
That's
In
true.
the UFC.
Yeah.
Frankie knocked him out.
6 knockouts.
Right,
And he was the hot shit at WC for a while as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can move on.
Yeah. Next.
5 for you.
5 for me. This might surprise you guys.
I've been surprised
Again,
a lot so far.
Really good losses and some really good wins and some really bad losses. Nate Diaz.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm surprised you have Nate that high.
And really,
Wow.
I
And
think,
you hate Nate
I
more
am
than all
too.
of
I
us.
say again, like I think big fights and like huge moments and pay-per-view sales and stuff is factored in a little bit with this.
But those big, huge moments in pay-per-view sales weren't because of him. They were because of his opponents.
Him beating Connor
Not nowadays.
solely is the reason I have him on
Nowadays,
my list.
it's him.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, against Jake Paul. My bad. You're right.
No, like, well, not now,
Or hey,
but
Journeyman
but like after the Connor
Journeyman George.
thing, Nate was. I mean, we were there.
Yeah. No, I know. He almost
We
knocked
saw
out Leon Edwards in the 5th round.
The whole crowd was like there for him.
Then he would have been champ. Well, no, he wouldn't have.
No,
That wasn't a champ.
I mean-
Never mind.
5 to Clem.
I guess he could have
Well,
fought
I'm a
Usman.
little ashamed because I also have Chad Mendez.
Yeah.
Wow, so you and
Should've
John
changed
have
it.
really
Change it.
similar lists.
Little bit
Me
sad.
and him have Mendez at 5.
Oh,
John had
right.
Stockton 209.
That's right.
Wow. Number 4.
I mean, in 14 fights, his opponents were 355 and 147.
There
That's
you
a
go.
pretty quality.
I didn't even look that
beat
up.
Cub Swanson and
See,
Clay
I
Guida.
like that you
I
did
like
your
that, yeah.
stats
I
like
like
that
that.
because I didn't even think to do it like that.
I mean, that's
a
so
lot of
when
math.
I'm looking
Strength
for
of
fights,
schedule.
that's kind of how strength of schedule for sure. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, sure, this guy's 9-0, but his opponents were like Habib. They're all 7, like
You want a good
6 and 47.
Wait, you fight?
No, if I were to fight him.
Yeah, you want the as good as a record possible against turds.
Right,
Like Khabib.
Right.
like Habib, exactly.
So we're at 4.
Yep.
To me, who is it?
Also, before
Yeah, you
we
said
break
Gus
this top 5,
first,
I
yeah.
didn't pick any active fighters for this. So if we could have done that, I may have changed it a little bit.
Okay.
I think Tony Ferguson should be in there.
Should Gus at 5.
yeah.
Brian
Yeah.
Ortega would be in there. Like if I had
Right.
added
You do
active
any
fighters.
active at all?
I have 0 active
Oh.
fighters. They're
That's
all
fine, that's
done
fine.
fighting.
Okay.
So
Kind of like that though.
take with that what you will
Right.
when you judge my list here in a little
And that's
bit.
the problem. The list we made last week with the top 10
Yeah.
champs, that's going to change probably a year from now.
Yeah,
to be honest.
they're all currently
Yeah.
they're all
I
out
mean,
of the game.
I guess I have 3 active fighters in the UFC on mine.
I have
So not that many.
Yeah.
I have one active.
I mean, Nate's
I guess I think I do have
active.
one active.
Nate's active,
Well,
but not in the
2
I'm an
UFC.
idiot.
then. 2
Oh,
then.
I have one active on my list.
All right, number
But I
4.
think he's too far gone to ever win. So I'm okay.
My number 4, if I can find it, California Kid.
Wow.
Uriah Faber.
That's
He did everything but win the fucking title. Dude.
yeah.
He got 4 cracks at it.
I guess it
He
makes
just
sense
couldn't-
because
Dom just had. If Dominic Cruz didn't exist,
yeah,
I think he holds the belt for quite some time.
this makes a lot of sense because I remember last week I was like critical of like people's opponents, and you were like, it's not their fault. It doesn't matter. Their
It's not.
opponents
It's
suck.
not.
Guys,
It doesn't.
But when you're comparing it to other people
You
who
guys
have
skip-
good opponents,
You guys, we skipped my number 6.
What?
Yeah, my number 6 got skipped.
Who was it?
How?
I don't know how, but it
You
got
said
skipped.
your words. What? What?
My number 6 is Donald Cerrone.
Who started off 6?
what are we at
We
now?
fucked up.
4?
I just read 4. Me.
We fucked up because mine got
So
skipped.
that
I
means
started 6.
so you started 6. What was your 6?
my 6
Gus.
Gus.
yeah, my 6 is Donald Cerrone.
And then we just completely skipped your ass
Yeah.
because you wouldn't shut the fuck up about Gus.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened.
He's on my list
I was
later.
like, all right, my number 6.
Yeah. So it's Dylan's fault.
Sorry. Edit this.
So
in.
where are we at on 4?
I just started 4.
Okay, go 6.
So 6 is Donald Cerrone. For Christ's sakes. I mean, everybody kind of already knows.
His resume speaks for itself.
The man literally, for Christ's sakes, he held the record for holding records in the UFC, for fuck's sake.
Records, and he was active as a motherfucker, dude.
Also, he
23 and 14.
he has 2 title
Look who's
fights. He has 2 title fights, and he's beaten 2 champs in his career.
17 submissions.
I'm saying 23 and 14. Like that's a good thing.
Oh,
That's a good-
because
I thought you
a lot
were-
of
I
these-
thought you were
A lot of
dogging
these
it.
guys are like 16 and 12
Right.
or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, well, yeah. So
I mean, he went out on a skid, but I guess only 2 fights? That's grappling.
He,
Oof,
he
no,
lost
he
it-
went-
he lost at Jim and
Jim,
yeah.
Morono.
the Great White, Pettis, Connor, Gaethje. God damn, cowboy. Fuck.
Yeah, he lost
Mhm.
a lot.
Majority draw. Nico Price.
Lost a lot. But he's also, I don't know that anybody will ever beat him in being the hands down year for year most active fighter.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, the one who comes close is Izzy, but Izzy's never going to be in the UFC as long as Donald was.
And I like the guys that kind of fight in 2 different eras. Like he was
Yeah.
early, but then he continued on into like the more modern, what we think of as
In-
the UFC is today.
In his heyday, like he has some scalps on his resume. Matt Brown, Rick Story, Cote,
Patrick Cote, dude.
Ben
Bingo!
Henderson.
yeah.
Miles
Well,
Jury.
him and Ben
embarrassed
fought.
Miles
Him and
Jury.
Ben fought like what 4 times
Eddie Alvarez
in their careers.
Jim Miller, Edson Barboza.
Like, come on, man.
what were you
AJ
gonna say, Clem?
AJ
So I
News.
actually have him higher, but because you guys brought up the skid,
I have him much higher. I have him much higher.
he was 23-8 before his 6-fight skid.
Yeah.
He lost 6 straight, so 23-8 significantly better than that
Yeah.
14.
and that was half in, half out cowboy.
Right,
On-
yeah,
on his
exactly.
way out.
When he
And
was on, he was 23
that was
kind of
Donald.
thing.
That wasn't
Exactly.
Cowboy.
Right,
that was
right.
Donald. But, and on top of
Yeah,
that, he's
classic
also one of
Donald.
my favorite fighters of all
Oh,
time.
absolutely.
He's,
Yeah.
he's just like, this is my bias in there, but
He's
That-
on my Rushmore for favorites.
That skid started with just horrible fighters named Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, Anthony Pettis. So,
Yeah.
ass, all of them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so
that's my number 6. We'll
my-
now carry on.
My number 4 was Uriah Faber.
Okay,
We've
so
talked about him several times.
Four
So
to-
4.
4 to me. So this guy fought at a few different weight classes and is no longer with us.
Oh,
he goes by
God.
the name Rumble.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I almost
Anthony Johnson.
I thought about Anthony Johnson this morning, and I was like, "Fuck, maybe."
Surprised you have him that high.
He is high up.
I mean,
talk about a scary motherfucker.
He fought dudes at welterweight and at heavyweight. Or
and
light heavyweight.
was consistently knocking them
in
out.
my opinion,
Yeah.
his hands down best win is knocking out Glover Teixeira in 13 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
Teixeira,
That was on the Connor versus Nate 2 card.
And he handled the whole cancer thing like a G. Like nobody knew nothing about it.
Yep.
Yeah. And remember when he just like took a hiatus, and then he was just bodybuilding, and he became a steroid head, like meathead bodybuilder, and he was huge.
I mean,
And then him and John Jones had the fake beef at the face-offs,
Yeah.
and that was shit his
Hilarious.
pants.
at light
Oh, it took a
heavyweight,
year
I
off
mean,
Dana's life.
at light heavyweight, wins over Glover, Ryan Bader, Gus,
Champs.
Nogueira, Phil Davis, beat Andre outside the UFC.
My only knock on him is the whole he could not make 70. He should have bumped up way earlier, dude.
Yeah.
But it's also crazy that he did make 70.
But he was killing himself to try to get to 70.
Maybe
man.
one of
he
the
fought
worst.
at heavyweight.
Maybe one of the worst weight cuts.
He fought
ever.
heavyweight and like wasn't fat. Like he was still jacked.
I know. Yeah, I kind of slept a little bit on
I did too.
him.
Yeah. I
Not
mean,
gonna lie.
I may have him too high, but
Same.
I don't know.
No,
That's pretty high.
I was always a Rumble guy.
I mean, like I said, light heavyweight run was pretty fucking good. He lost
beat
to
your
DC.
boyfriend.
He just lost to DC. That's it.
My boyfriend's never actually lost. It was all fluky.
Didn't he knock Gus out in Sweden?
Fuck you.
I think so.
You're literally pissing me off
Talking
right
about
now.
In round one.
You guys are all going to catch a fucking left hook Larry tonight.
And it was like, I'm pretty sure it
That's
was
just
like,
leading
Oh,
to
it was
left
in Stockholm too.
Oh, kill y'all.
and
no.
I'm pretty sure it was like 3 in the morning there because like
Yeah,
time
fuck
shit.
it. We can move on. We can, next.
Gus lost in front of his hometown whenever everyone's like yawning, trying to stay awake.
2
We
minutes.
want to get personal here? Do we want to start saying some hurtful things? We can start saying hurtful things.
4 to Clem.
Manuel Romero is my number 4.
Okay.
Yeah, he cracked my top 5 because he should have been champ. I mean, obviously he missed weight. Had he made weight and won that fight, he would have been the champ. It was stripped from him, so I felt the need to put him at top 5.
He missed weight on 2 title fights.
Yeah. 13 fights, 273 and 95 was the opponent record.
And he could be 70 years old.
Yeah. He beat Rockhold, Machida, Chris Weidman, Brunson. Had a good little run right there.
Yeah.
This is one thing
Tim Ken.
nobody's ever heard, dude.
He loves Tim Ken.
His
Kennedy.
eye. He's got strong eyes, bro.
Oh yeah, his retinas.
His
are fucking-
his retinas are so big and tough.
Where did you get this guy?
yeah.
He's literally healing in front of our
He's
eyes.
like, no, you don't understand. I've never seen a human like this. I'm so sick of hearing
Isn't
that
his
story.
the majority of his neck and spine is like fused?
Yes, he's had a fused neck his entire career.
Like he can't.
Yeah,
he turns like that. Like you can't.
You seen the guy run?
It's terrible.
The way he runs is crazy.
So number
Seth now.
4 to Seth.
Okay, go from 6 to 4 to me.
Yep.
Number 4, Gegard Mousasi, the most
I'm surprised he's not your.
most underrated fighter
1 through
of all goddamn time.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
beat 12 champs in his career. We've talked about him already, so we can move
Number
on, but
3 to John.
3
I
to
started 4, correct? Just to reiterate.
who was 4?
4 for me was California Kid.
Okay. Sounds right. All right.
Next time we should not snake when we should just go in order.
I agree.
at the
I
same
agree.
time.
I agree.
Nah.
You guys skip.
John, number 3.
Number 3. We already talked about him. He can't strike, but he's beat like everybody. Damien Maya.
Wow.
Okay.
See, hey. I'm glad somebody else put him in their top 10.
I'm disappointed. I'm most disappointed about Gegard Mousasi.
Yeah, he should be.
Yoel's my
49 and
my
9.
slept on guy.
Number 3 to Clem.
This is my lone active fighter, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
He was my
Whoa.
he was my
What do you
number
mean? Whoa.
17-7 overall, 20-0 in kickboxing, 12-7,
2 title shots.
2 title
He's beat
shots,
2 champs.
411 or
Arguably beat Tyrone Woodley.
Yeah, arguably.
411 and
Wow.
177. He beat Kevin Holland, Masvidal, Roy McDonald. He beat Whitaker.
That's crazy.
And the first one was a majority draw, and the second one was a majority decision.
So
Yeah.
Tight fucking fights.
Yeah. I mean, look, he was my number 10 when I first started this, and then he went down. after
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I don't have him top 10. I mean,
God, you guys are crazy for that.
You have him in your top 10?
Fuck yeah.
He's that high in your top 10?
Yes.
Whoa.
that's crazy.
It was just Clem 3.
Oh, yeah, you guys are nuts.
You're gonna be really mad at my other two. You're gonna blow a gasket in this place.
Fuck.
Number 3 to Seth.
I can't
Are we
wait.
sure? Is this right? Number 3 to me?
Yes.
Number 3, California. You're right, Faber.
But you're mad at Wonder Boy for being 3?
Yeah.
Wonder Boy's beaten much better guys than California Kid.
Agreed.
Yeah, I guess.
Faber has 4 title shots.
He's got 2.
Yeah, congrats on being
Wonder
11
Boy's
and
got
7.
2.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And did better in those than Uriah did.
But
I mean,
there-
Uriah was competitive, but he damn near beat Woodley twice in
I
a row.
understand, but it's like career for career, guy for guy.
He's still going too, motherfucker.
I understand.
Yeah,
Listen,
but that's what I was saying. I think he's too far. I don't think he's ever going to win the title.
This
No,
is the
no,
time.
no,
This is the
gone.
time to rank him that high.
You're right.
Right now.
Eventually, yeah, he's going to start going down on this list, but Uriah's always going to be solidified up there. Uriah's
he
like,
just beat
did you know Uriah's like number 2 on Michael Bisping's list
ever?
of top 10 best non-UFC champs?
Really?
Yeah.
I love Uriah Faber, man.
I do too.
Number 3 to me.
Yeah. You haven't said yours yet? Okay. Yeah.
John Fitch.
Wow.
Wow.
Tie.
Super hot.
You guys are gonna hate my last 2. Number 3 to you, or you started 3?
Yeah. 2 to
2 to Clem.
2 to Clem.
My brother in Christ. Damian Maya is my number 2.
I'm not mad at that. It's just that's crazy,
758 and 300 is his opponent's record.
That's gnarly.
That's crazy. 22 and 11.
300.
Yeah.
though.
He beat Askren, Masvidal, Condit, beat Fitch.
Fuck you.
Now I understand.
Yeah, he's beating a lot of who's.
And that was a straight up. They should have taken the gloves off for that fight. That was a grappling match.
Sure.
I mean, back in the old days, beat Ed Herman and Nate Corey.
Ed Herman, huh?
Fitch was my number 8 too.
beat Chael
So.
Sonnen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Really, like, did horrible against Anderson. I remember we watched that at that shop.
That's when Dana was like really pissed off at Anderson for doing what he did.
Yeah.
Playing guitar and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
dancing everywhere. Number 2 to you? We're on 2, correct?
Yeah.
It's already 2 to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I have things to say about this. So everybody shut up.
I would have never guessed.
My number 2 is Yo Romero. 4 title shots. I mean, while the guy was competing in freestyle wrestling, he has defeated 3 Olympic gold medal winners. One of those being Cael Sanderson, which he beat multiple times, and that's nuts. If you're a wrestler, that's nuts. You know,
Mhm.
their 2 biggest guys
Yeah.
ever were like John Smith and Cael Sanderson
Yeah.
for a long, long, long time, and he wrecked them. I know that's not UFC, but I'm going career for career, fighter for fighter. You know who they are. I mean, he's also one of 2 fighters to win the actually win the belt, but not get the belt because he missed weight. So it's like another thing. The guy actually kind of did win the belt, but he did it on a technicality.
Right.
Doesn't count.
Who was number 2? Who was the second person?
Figueiredo.
Oh,
Davison
okay,
Figueiredo,
word.
yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, Figueiredo knocked the fuck out of Joey Benavidez, but he missed weight, and
Mhm.
and that's the one that Joey woke up screaming.
Are you done on the
Word.
Cuban experiment?
No, I mean, I had a lot more to say, but it's kind of already been said. But yeah, I mean, look, the guy, one of the big ones I was going to say was the fact that, he would have beat Bisping when Bisping held the belt. He
Woulda,
tried
coulda,
really-
shoulda.
I know there's a lot of would, coulda, shoulda. But
That's what I was
you know,
saying
I gotta
earlier.
take-
It's all
I-
about the timing.
I
That's
gotta
why the
take an
UFC
account.
title shots
I gotta
didn't play
take
as
an
big a
account for
factor
these
into me.
guys. He's still, even to this day, at 75 years old, people are not wanting. They don't want to fight the guy. He's still active. He's still fighting. The thing I don't like about him is there's been a lot of fuckery in his career. The whole ice skate thing.
He also
Tim Kennedy was
Tim Kennedy-
knocking him out if they start that round when they should.
Exactly.
I feel
Tim
like
would have beat him.
he just decides like I don't want to do anything today, and
Right.
he'll just stand in there.
He
and
will.
just do nothing.
Like, he did
But-
that against Izzy.
The most boring Izzy fight of all time.
Yeah.
But why?
When he-
Why?
that's what I'm-
Why? Because
why-
they were scared and terrified of this man.
Well, yeah, but
That's why.
also I just feel like if he would go, he could just kill everybody.
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah, if there was no fuckery, if there was no unfortunate things that happened in his career, and he got to fight all the time, whoever he wanted to fight, he would have definitely been champ, and he probably would have held it for a while.
I'm gonna get this rolling because I gotta piss.
But yeah, that's my number 2, and he's still just a terrifying fucking man.
Yep.
Also, speaking of piss, I did take into consideration all the clean pissers. My whole list, aside from Yoel, because it was a tainted supplement.
Yeah, I didn't.
All my guys are clean pissers.
I didn't take that into consideration, but I'm pretty sure all mine are
I
too.
also took a little bit of consideration.
My number 2, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Wow.
Okay.
I think I overlooked Wonder Boy a little bit, but
He was my number 10 initially.
Dude, and he came into the UFC like with just burst in with the whole karate style, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
Well, he
With
was
a current 20-0 record in kickboxing.
Right. You're like, hands
Karate
down,
was
no,
what
he was
did.
he was
Sideways.
57-0 in kickboxing.
Well, you're right, and the internet's wrong. Then I guess
I think 57-0 actually is
No,
correct.
57-0
Really?
in kickboxing.
it said 20-0 when I was looking at it.
I mean, he's been like pretty. I was gonna say up and down, but like a lot of down lately. But
I mean,
he is like an old man at this point.
Yeah.
I know Kevin Holland's like
What's
not
his age
like,
now?
Like Kevin Holland is relevant as fuck.
39?
He's 30,
41.
Holy
41.
shit!
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
Stephen Wonder, middle-aged man.
Dude, he has never looked any different.
Yeah, he looks the same. He's
the
a
same.
cutie
And-
patootie.
He was born like that.
He
Yeah.
scores more points for me because he is the nicest guy in the UFC.
Yeah,
But also,
He-
how about this?
He's a sweetheart.
I bet you out of all these guys we've listed, I bet you he was the first actual champion in whatever he was fighting at a young age. Because he was a champ at like what? Probably 16 or something. He was like
what are you talking about? Kickboxing?
yeah, just anything. Whatever
I mean,
he fought
was
in.
probably
Taekwondo?
like some Taekwondo champion when he was like 6.
Yes, easily.
Yeah.
I think he can go fuck shit up over at Karate Combat if he wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
Fight James Vick.
That's basically what he did before that. With like the whole team thing.
Yeah.
Didn't he do that?
Oh,
He fucks
yeah.
everybody. He
Chuck
fucks.
Norris thing.
I bet he beats MVP in karate kickboxing. I do.
MVP's dangerous.
Don't care.
Maybe Wonder Boy 6 years ago.
I think MVP knocks him out
No.
like Pettis did.
Yeah, the Pettis one, that sucked.
That was weird.
One,
that was
one
weird.
was odd. That one
Dude,
was
Wonder
odd.
Boy's got a hell of a chin on
He
him.
kinda does.
Hell of a chin.
I mean, he's been knocked out one time.
By, Pettis.
Anthony Pettis.
The
Yeah,
Wheaties boy.
that was stupid. Pettis was gonna die that night.
Number 2 to you?
Yeah. 2 to me.
I think, correct?
I don't
No,
know.
I think
dude.
it's. Wait, you said Yoel.
I
you
did
said,
2. He did 2.
So am I
you
a
go.
1?
What did you say for 2?
For 2 is Wonder Boy.
Okay, so it's me.
Yeah, you're at 2.
All right. So, I mean, I guess these last 2 may surprise you guys because they're like way different than kind of what you guys have been saying.
Fucking hear him, weirdo.
But holds a lot of these records here.
Jim Miller?
Jim Miller?
Jim Miller.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's one
Yeah.
he's one I overlooked a little
I
bit.
should have replaced him
So-
with Clay.
Typically, I feel like I'm not
It was a weird one, buddy.
Sorry, bro.
like when the UFC on the broadcast puts like these record, like, you know, most finishes and this way, like it's like whatever. But for some reason on this list, I took like a lot of that stuff into consideration. Like, yeah, Jim Miller's lost a lot, but he holds like all these records and shit.
If
He's
I
been
was to
fighting
still-
redo
forever.
this
still beating
list,
him.
if I was to redo my list, Jim Miller is probably mid pack. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
mid like top 10 or
Oh no, I'm talking like 5.
yeah, I'm saying mid top 10.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I would be replacing Joey Benavidez
I
with
just-
Jim Miller on my list.
I just threw some names down, and I thought that
it's hard, man. There's a lot of people.
Yeah,
in this
I
game.
mean, the champ pool is like what, a couple hundred guys, and then the non-champ pool is like
right.
25,000.
Yeah,
It's-
we're talking about 31 years of fighters,
Right.
here, you know,
I mean, Jim.
I should have had Jim. In
The thing
there,
for me,
man.
like,
Can
when
we
he-
scrap
the
this
only
and
the only
redo
two
it?
people in this room that were even alive for all of these were me and Clem.
That's true.
You guys are old.
His heyday. He like now, you know,
I'm going to kill myself. I don't.
the last
deserve
few
this.
years he's losing to like Joe Slecki and From Hell and shit. But I mean, back in the day, like
Dude, Jim's the
He
fucking
didn't-
man,
he didn't lose
bro.
nothing.
He's the man.
Yeah, and he
Old man
he
Jim.
beat Chucky Olives.
which is
with a knee bar.
yeah, but that was back when Chucky Olives was just quitting and giving.
But that's
up.
when Chucky always was choking motherfuckers out all the time too.
It's true.
I think Chucky Olives beat him after that too. But
Probably.
But yeah, no, Miller is, you know,
Yeah.
he's one of those guys that's responsible for beating some of Cowboy's records. But at the time, Cowboy had every record, but then it got surpassed by like fucking
I'm just disappointed in myself right
what
now, to be honest.
the
with
fight record?
yeah, like there's a few fighters in the past 2 years since Donald retired that
Yeah.
have passed his records.
Cowboy was the record guy for
Cowboy-
a while.
Jim was one of them
Yeah.
who passed Cowboy. Charles is the other who passed Cowboy, and then another one was Black Beast who passed
Yep,
Cowboy.
Yeah,
Cowboy was the record.
He was
He's
he had,
a
he had,
record
he had
guy.
him over all those guys.
yeah.
I'm
And
just
most,
I am upset.
Most
at
fights, most wins.
I really am, dude.
You
Second in
came way harder on
finishes.
the last list.
I did.
Second in sub wins.
But which is stupid because coming into this thing, I was like
prepared.
feeling pretty good about it. You just did, like he said, there's so many more
Yeah.
fighters that
Yeah.
aren't
I was
champs.
feeling this is like me on the last list. I was feeling way better than I ended
Jim's-
up feeling.
Jim's fought in the UFC for 7 hours and 11 minutes.
That's
is
insane.
Look at Clay right behind him, though, huh?
Yeah.
Clay will probably pass him. Clay will probably pass him.
will.
18 and 18 versus what? in the UFC. 26 and 17. Yeah.
That's
Holy fuck.
crazy.
Jim Miller, I hope you're watching this. You're not, though. I'm
Legend.
sorry.
You're not
From
though.
2008 to 2024. What a fucking
I
run.
apologize.
So where did you say 2 yet, Clem?
I started with 2, I believe.
So Seth to 1.
Seth won.
My number 1.
Can you crinkle that fucking paper?
My number
anymore?
1 is also a man who has always been on my top 5 or 6 favorite fighters of all time.
Someone called him Mount Rushmore.
Some would call it Mount Rushmore.
And they're only 4.
I think Mount Rushmore needs 2 more presidents on it.
At least one.
Go chisel them
Yeah.
in.
Come on, Donald. Get up there, Donnie.
I think you'd have to add some mountain.
Yeah, it's mountain. Yeah.
Go get your rock climbing gear and
Seth just up there.
This man
25 years
This
later.
man fought in 4 different organizations. He was champion in all of them except for UFC. He beat what a lot of people would argue the greatest heavyweight of all time, Fedor Emelianenko.
Ooh,
And
I know. Me.
It's Dan
Wait, no.
Henderson.
Dan Henderson.
Dan Henderson is my number 1.
That fucking H-bomb, dude.
H-bomb. I
That
love this
seems-
guy. He's been fighting in the goddamn UFC since 97.
Probably.
He used to
With shoes on.
Will you scroll back up real fast?
His entire career, beginning of his career, started out with
Okay,
him
so it's
fighting
different than what I
3
had.
times. Let me finish.
Now to just
3 times a fucking night.
9-9 UFC.
I don't
though.
care, dude. I don't
I had it
care.
at 7 and 9, so that's why I kept him out of mine.
The pride
Yeah.
record
Yeah,
is,
for
is
sure.
impressive.
Dude.
See, that's
He's got 2 title shots and he's beat 12 champions in his career.
Knocking out Fedor is huge.
12. Yeah, that's one of the 12 legends he
And
has
the way
beaten.
he did it. He
Oh.
punched under from like turtle.
It was weird.
that's where the way I did my list was different because I didn't even really consider the outside the UFC part.
I have
Personally.
to. I can't. I
Yeah.
cannot.
I'm not
You
saying
know.
you can. I'm
No,
just saying
I
that's
know,
what
I know,
I
I
did.
was going to put Fedor, actually, and I didn't know if it was only UFC guys, so I left him off. He was one of my honorable mentions,
Oh.
though.
His 5-round fight with Shogun. That's one of the best.
Fedor is Mount Rushmore greatest heavyweights of all time.
Wasn't it a
Legend.
5-rounder?
Yeah.
He beat Shogun twice, didn't he?
Wasn't it a 5-rounder?
Yes.
Though? Yeah. That fight there. Hendo looked tired after the second round.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
And he kept going
Look,
for 3 more
He beat
rounds.
Vanderlei, and that was a scary Vanderlei that he beat. He beat Paul Harris, Rich Franklin, there, and Bisbing, right?
He
There,
fought,
those are 2.
he fought Bisping at UFC 100.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
H-bomb.
No, I know. No, I thought you just didn't know it was the.
He knocked
100.
out Bisbing and then flying forearmed his
I
face.
thought you meant like, oh, it was UFC 100.
who?
No.
What?
Listen, man, this guy,
No, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
he's always been one of my favorite fighters, hands down. Always will be. But his pedigree, his wrestling, even his wrestling before he became a fighter, he was an insane wrestler, multiple time world state champ, or whatever. All these accolades on wrestling.
He's
alone.
another guy that like aura has got it's a factor. Like he's
Oh,
an
yeah.
aura guy.
He literally like lost all of his teeth at the beginning of his career from fighting, and then like had fake fucking teeth, like afterwards. He's just
I don't know.
he's
how,
probably one
like,
of the scariest
and
guys to have. He's
how
one of
is-
the guys you want in a bar
How
for a
is
bar
he not
fight.
like super CT'd out? I know he's got a little bit, but like
He
how is
speaks
he
well,
not
But
like?
here's the
he
thing,
speaks
though.
well.
He's probably made it further in the UFC than anyone else with only really one weapon.
No, his wrestling
Yeah.
was phenomenal, dude.
Early days, but when the fuck was he wrestling guys?
No, he wasn't
all
wresling.
he had was the overhand.
his,
Are you
his, no,
disregarding
his,
Habib?
his defensive wrestling was always there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Always there.
Well, another question is how do you do
His
this
anti-wrestling is
well when
insane.
you're like not a great like athlete? Like he wasn't like
Yeah, he's stiff.
the best
He's kind of
athlete in the world.
awkward. He's kind of
Yeah.
awkward, but dude, he's a boogeyman. He's a fucking boogeyman. Nobody wanted to fuck with him.
Nobody probably remembers this fight that would like listen to this,
The
but
Hector
like the Lombard one was
Oh my
hilarious.
God.
dude.
With the
The
back
elbow.
elbow as
Yeah.
his leg is being held.
And arguably, he was kind of losing that fight. And I watched that Hooters, bro. Shout out.
Hector back then was a scary fucker too.
Yeah, he was, and he was on all the roids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
On all the roids.
that was the Wild West days. That was the TRT days.
All right, was that one?
That's my number 1, Dan
Okay.
Henderson.
Number 1, Donald Cowboy Cerrone.
Really?
Biased.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Biased.
yeah.
Biased. as fuck. Biased as fuck.
Oh,
I knew he was going to be your
Bro,
top
listen
2.
to the resume
I know,
here.
I know.
Yeah,
You don't have to. You don't have to tell me.
You're talking about
Perry
resumes.
Don't tell me.
Alvarez, Jeremy Stevens, a young Charles Oliveira,
Most
Wagner
impressive.
Roca, James Krause. Just threw him
Wow,
in
you
there.
threw out Wagner Roca.
Fuck yeah, dude! That guy's
Wow.
an elite grappler.
I
and
know.
I didn't know anybody knew who that was.
Clem with the fucking pull of the
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Look,
And again, he was 23-8 before his final skid that took him to 23-14.
And my biggest thing with him, dude, is he fought so much.
Mhm.
So much.
Yeah.
so much.
I mean, again,
5 times a year.
this page here was a factor, and I think obviously Jim has a lot of the records, total fights, wins, but Cowboy beat Jim, so that's kind of what bumped it over Jim for me.
36-17 overall. Without that final skid, he's 36-11. That's an
didn't
incredible record.
Jim beat him
for his retirement
his last fight.
Yeah.
But
And
in their primes, Cowboy
Yeah,
fucked
right.
him up.
And forget about how cool of a fucking human being he is. I mean,
Cowboy's
he's a
a
man's
fucking
man. He's a
man.
fighter's fighter.
He's got hair now.
but he looks damn good.
Like
but-
GSP.
But his style,
That's so weird.
his
to see.
style is a fan's favorite kind of
Yeah.
Oh,
style.
100%.
He's
Super
a
traditional, like
fun-
Muay Thai style.
Oh
dude.
yeah, kick your
And-
head off.
And in his early days, dude, like he was choking motherfuckers out off his back.
His back game is insane. Yeah, his jiu-jitsu's insane.
Beat Mike Perry.
Mm-hmm.
Broke his
He
fucking
almost
arm.
broke his arm. He armbarred the fuck out of him.
Out of that psycho.
Yeah, I mean,
no, look, I'm obviously not mad that he's your guys' number one.
I
He's
think-
one of my favorite fighters of all time.
so again, the losses, he lost a lot, but I think the records and the wins and the fact that he beat Jim, for me,
Can I
that puts
knock
him up
Clay
there.
off my list? and
This
put
is
Jim at 10?
what sucks though
Sure.
about Donald.
All
Just real quick on the thing, the two big things that I accredited this list to, he kind of lacked in. Only 2 title fights, only 2 champs he's beaten in his career.
Yeah.
That's the only bummer.
For me, the biggest thing, like I said, it's the longevity, and
Yeah.
he was active.
Yeah, no doubt. Most active, hands down. Most
Now-
active fighter ever.
If this was if this was a best wins list, he had a run where he, after he lost to RDA the first time.
That was a body shot, I believe.
And that's the scariest RDA ever right there that he
Well, I
lost
guess
to.
those aren't. What am I thinking of here? Because
that wasn't.
there was a period of time where he fought 8 guys that weren't super good in a row.
Are you talking about Patrick Cote and
Patrick Cote's pretty fucking good. Though.
When did he fight Wagner Rocha?
It was down
Early,
there.
a while ago?
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Jamie
So
Varner.
this I mean, Charles now, but at this time, this wasn't the greatest
in
group.
front of you.
But
That's where I'm at.
James Krause. Rear naked choke James Krause in
Yeah.
round 1.
And that's crazy to rear naked choke James Krause. 'Cause
Yeah.
he has some nice grappling.
He's
Oh,
slick,
yeah.
yeah.
He's slick.
It's good betting too.
that was an
Even if that was
09.
2009. I get it. But I'm looking at signature wins now.
No, I agree. I
you
agree.
look back at people and see what they were able to do over the course. It makes it a little bit more impressive to do.
Yeah.
The people I lose to now, I cheer for them to win going forward, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it makes you look better.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's definitely guys on all of our lists that have probably better wins.
Sure.
But Cowboy has just more.
I understand.
There's more.
I'm
But-
putting.
but-
I want it to be known.
to
I am
play-
swapping my 10th pick with Clay. I'm putting Old Man Jim in there. It's official.
Oh, and you're just going to forget about Gegard?
I'd rather have Jim in there.
I would probably have
Jim's got all the
Yoel.
records in the UFC.
I would probably have Yoel and Wonder Boy higher in mine.
That's my only flop, and I want it
Yeah.
to be official.
I would have had
Alright.
I would have had Jim in mind. That's one of my flops.
I'm upset about that.
Yeah.
None of you guys have honorable mentions, right? You just have 10.
Here's one we have not talked about. Who I
I got
really
another
want.
one. Go ahead.
Edson Barboza.
Yeah.
Okay.
He should be an honorable. He should at least be talked about a little.
Well, let me.
Zabit.
He's a doctor.
I was a huge fan
He's
of
a
that
His
guy.
brother fights.
He's a
I
doctor.
did not know that.
Because I'm the only one with an actual list of honorable mentions.
I got a couple.
So
in my
I'm
head.
just gonna say the name,
And we
and you
can
guys
just
tell me if
say
they belong
Top.
11 to 20.
Okay.
Okay, 11. Derek Lewis.
Yes. I think he does.
Most-
11 through 20.
Again, records and stuff, most knockouts.
Yeah. I would give him probably a 19.
Yeah. I mean, he's lost obviously.
Yeah, he's
a
over
few
15
times.
for
His
me.
balls
but-
are hot. He's the black
If
beast.
if he hadn't have pulled off that
Aura.
crazy knockout on Volkov in the last 9 seconds,
Like he hasn't knocked
God.
out anyone else.
I
other
wanted-
than that.
I
No, I'm
wanted to
just
have
saying.
Volkov on this list, but I didn't.
I like Volkov a
I
lot.
do too.
Can I say a heavyweight since you're doing heavyweight?
Go ahead.
Mirko Krokop?
Oh,
Hey,
I looked into him.
Not the most impressive UFC record. I think he's
Yeah,
like 6-6.
You know who's
Yeah.
better than that?
He got knocked out by Frank and Brendan Schaub, which is not a good look.
You know who's better than that, and you probably won't think so?
But hold on, real quick. Mirko got to the UFC like way later than what he should have. Because
Yeah.
in Pride, he was fucking people.
If it was
up.
like a career.
Right
video,
leg
for
hospital,
sure.
left leg cemetery, dude.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
What happened to your legs, Mirko?
Big Nog.
Yeah.
Big
Okay.
Nog.
Yeah.
Big Nog is number 9 on Michael Bisping's list.
Like just UFC big nog?
Non-champs.
Non-
or
like
like
what we're doing.
No, UFC, just UFC.
just UFC.
Bisping did it way more pure than us. He did actual just UFC,
Wow.
and he didn't do like.
And he had big nog in there.
He had big nog
For
in
just
number
UFC.
9. Yeah.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
Frank Mir snapped his shit in half.
Yeah. All right.
Frank, here's another one.
To Frank.
Frank,
shout out to
Frank
Frank.
won. Frank won.
Oh yeah, he won.
And then he got in the motorcycle wreck and
That's right.
fucked his whole career up.
Which man, if he didn't get in that wreck,
I know,
Oh
dude.
man,
12 on my list. Rory McDonald.
Absolutely. Damn it.
Absolutely.
he's number 14 on my list.
Without seeing his record and shit, that makes sense.
Yep.
And
We
became
don't have
champ
time.
in Bellator right after and
Yeah.
PFL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had a
If Robbie
Two
Lawler
fights
was
skid
not
at the
there,
end.
Robbie changed his life.
he had 2
Yeah.
fight skid at the end. He lost to Robbie, but other than that, he beat everybody.
He never looked the same.
and in my opinion, still to this day, the greatest UFC fight of all time.
13.
Robbie Lawler,
I was pissed at
McDonald
how good he
too.
was.
So good. I love Rory McDonald, and he's a psycho.
13?
Jacare.
Yeah, I thought about Jacare. I thought
A
about
lot of
Jacare.
losses, but good wins too.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
fought like a lot of tough motherfuckers.
Jason A. Miller soccer kicked him in the head and got DQ'd for it in Japan.
Everything in Japan was fuckery.
14, I had Gray Maynard.
I think he should be higher, man.
Yeah.
He's
He had a
definitely
really
in there.
good run, and then he also had like a really bad run.
Right.
I think he belongs top 20.
15, I had Ken Flo.
That's too low.
Both of those guys are in my 10, so.
Yeah.
Ken Flo was my 11.
Ken Flo just didn't have as many, like the longevity,
He
you know?
didn't, but all his entire career took place in the UFC.
And
Yeah.
it was very impressive.
Yeah.
And he went through the tough house
Good.
at 185 and ended his career fighting for the 145-pound belt,
Yeah.
which is pretty wild.
I think the last fight
He was
against Aldo,
well-rounded,
his last
too.
fight of his career against Aldo is like, that's extra points. I think.
Yeah,
Like, that's crazy.
Ken Flo's awesome.
Like, could he have kept going? Yes, but
And I love it when Ken Flo just goes out. He has a civilian just in a leather jacket, just looking all fucking suave and shit.
This one's going to surprise you.
Marab,
Oh,
I'm not.
I think it's too early to put him
It's
in
too
there.
early.
In my
Put
opinion.
him in
It's
there for
too early,
sure.
except
He
for-
can beat Sean.
Except for his last 3 fights are Jose Aldo, Peter Yan, Henry Cejudo, and he beat them all.
It's too early for
Really
me.
good.
Yeah.
It's too early though. It's too early.
I think he does
And
become
also, hey,
champ at
John
some point.
Dodson would not be a terrible one to put in like a top 25.
Yeah, I thought about him
To
too.
be honest,
He's
John,
not. Yeah.
First
yeah.
of all, probably the speediest little fucking
He's a speedy
fighter
little
of all
bastard.
time. Probably the fastest guy in the UFC.
He just flips and shit all over the goddamn
Oh
place.
my God, he was fast.
If we're talking, so here, if we're talking about better wins, which obviously, like I said, that was kind of my big thing.
That's why
Uriah
love this
Faber's
guy.
17, Marab's 16.
That's insanity.
Rob's beat better guys
That's crazy.
I
and has
know.
lost less.
But you're talking about like,
But he's
Uriah's run was earlier in the sport.
but
That's true, but-
Marab's about to have his first title shot. We don't know how he's going to do if he
Right.
loses to
So
Sean.
what's better, like Marab not having a title shot yet, or Faber losing, like he going 1-7 in title shots?
1-7.
Like
Marab-
with
it's just
WEC, like he won 1, but then he lost to Mike Brown twice, and he lost 4 in the UFC. I got 1-6 maybe.
It's too early for Marab for me.
A little too early. I love
Yeah,
Marab.
I think
though.
just for the sake of
I do
what
like-
the
I
list
do like
was,
Marab.
it's too
I'm a
early.
big
yeah.
Marab fan. There's no doubt.
No, he's funny.
He's great.
Like not on purpose funny.
And on
Unintentionally
purpose.
funny.
I think he
Where he
both.
put on Sean's jacket.
That was
And
Yeah.
he's just standing there smiling.
Or he runs and he dives into a frozen lake and busts his head open on the ice. And he's like, "Oh, that was stupid."
Sean, time to train. You smoke too much.
Yeah.
Time to train.
No, he's hilarious. I love that he's just from fucking Georgia, but he's still speaking English and he's still like having an American kind of
and
sense
he
of humor. to him.
claims Mexico.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome, dude. I won't be mad if he beats Sean, but I think Sean beats him.
I think so too. On
8
both those things.
18. This is going to surprise you. Corey Sandhagen.
That doesn't surprise me at all. One of
Too
my
early
favorites.
though. These guys are
Again,
all-
yeah.
I love Corey.
I guess I like this list better with retired guys. Is my thing.
yeah. That's exactly.
We're all
And,
Sandhagen.
and again, I just
Hands.
was looking at I was looking at
10 and
UFC,
3, baby.
just UFC stuff also.
Three,
So.
baby. He's top 5 favorite
he's
active
taken-
fighters right now for me.
Sure.
He's
I
taking
love
a
him.
hell
I
of
love
a
him.
risk his next fight though.
I
And I
like
bet
him
he
a lot.
beats him. I bet he beats him.
Umar's dangerous and he's number 10.
I know, but
think.
people are acting like Corey doesn't have a superior wrestling. His wrestling's insane.
He
He
kind
can
of
sit there and anti-wrestle and wrestle with you the whole time and make it a boring fight
he's one of those guys that like I think Corey literally gets better every time he fights.
every time.
For sure.
Remember when he killed Frankie? Absolutely murdered him.
That's more disrespectful than DC throwing Hendo.
Yeah, but remember when he murdered him and then he immediately felt bad and he just like
You
took,
have to.
he like took a knee.
Well, here's the thing: if I'm Sandhagen, I'm gonna not do that to Frankie and
You're
just grind
Sandhagen.
out
I'm
a
blowing you
decision.
tonight.
I think Dillashaw would have been good to add into the top 10 too.
He's champ.
Yeah,
He was
had
a
the
champ.
belt.
Yeah, dude. I'm
He had the
dense.
belt.
I mean,
thick skulled over here.
he was none of us had him top 10 champs, but he was like honorable mention, right?
The whole EPO thing ruined everything for
we
me.
didn't talk about him.
We didn't.
We didn't even talk about him.
See, Cejudo beat him,
Little
Cruz,
snake in the
and
Snicking
That's what
across the-
Corey Beck kept calling it too. Corey Beck used to love Dillashaw until
Oh,
he got
yeah.
caught.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
And now he's like
Until
that little
EPO.
fucking rat.
Yeah, I remember that.
Take it easy, pal.
all right, 19 Hendo. Not a great UFC record. Obviously, outside the UFC, way higher.
So just to put this into perspective,
That's about right.
you had Hendo at 1.
Yeah.
He's got him at 19.
That's fucking.
Yeah.
You're a fucking idiot.
I mean, Corey
He
Sandhagen.
beat Fedor Emelianenko
That's-
2 weight classes
that's what I'm
above
saying.
him.
Outside the
I didn't
UFC.
even
Don't
consider
care.
that. I didn't even consider outside the
care.
UFC. In the UFC, 10-3 for Sandhagen, 9-9 for Hendo.
And
I mean,
Hendo didn't fight at 185 since like he knocked out Bisping. I think that was like literally it.
and in 20, I had Colby.
No, he fought at 205 a lot.
Colby,
fought at
really?
Colby.
Colby Covington?
I was looking UFC only.
I'm not mad at it.
I had Colby initially, but this is remember when I kept texting you guys
Colby's
and I'm
a
like,
great fucking fighter.
oh yeah. Remember when I kept texting you guys? I'm like, wait, I need to. There's too vague with like I need to know exactly how you guys are gonna do this.
Yeah.
Then I deleted Colby off of the list after you.
Marty
guys were
Fake
like,
newsman.
I mean,
Oh, Colby's great.
Look
two
at all the
super
dubs
close title fights. Well, 3 title fights, 2 were close.
Well, everything started at Dong Young.
And I know the Kamaru was it the rematch he got his jaw broke?
That was the first one.
That was the first one?
Yeah.
To fight with a broken jaw,
in
like
the fourth round.
was it the 4th?
Yeah, and then he fought the whole 5th round with
Pretty
a
crazy.
broken
That's
jaw.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the dude
broken ass
the
jaw.
dude's gas tank is unmatched.
Unmatched. Well, John Fitch, close.
Close.
All right. You guys got any other names you want to mention here?
I said Mirko already. I thought that was kind of a fun one, but
Yeah, I said Edson.
Edson's another good one.
Yeah, I know we're missing a couple, which kills me.
George Masvidal, he won the BMF though.
Yeah,
He
Masvidal
did.
would definitely be on somebody's list, but not mine.
A stupid guy.
Yeah,
And
he
this
sucks.
this might be the most like subjective list ever.
it's pretty. It has to be. There's no way it's not going to be. You
I
know?
mean, here was like my
Like this one,
first list.
this one like
Vittori, of course.
I feel like
Vittori's
being a
on there.
stats king, you can't like stats alone don't make this list. If
No.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
John's got Bilal and Vittori on there.
I mean, this list has like 50 people on it.
There's
you got
only
the falafel on there, dude.
so
He's like, what is it, like
Marvin-
18-2 in the UFC or
Yeah.
something?
and Bilal have one.
Eight-
fan.
Or
Eighteen.
like-
John
Maybe-
Sawyer. That is it.
Maybe not 8. It's probably more like 14-1. I think it's like 14-1.
Carlos Condit is
14 decisions too.
Probably.
Condit is one I had
Condit.
in my top 15.
Mm.
Kelvin was like one of the first guys I thought of.
Condit, I like Condit. a lot.
Kelvin, really?
Kelvin wouldn't have been terrible.
Yeah, because I mean he's lost, but
Here's
he
the
had
thing.
a banger with Izzy. For
Yeah.
the interim belt.
Condit,
Cheeto Vera is not another bad one.
Condit slightly got robbed out of his champ, out of his belt.
What? Okay, before we
Real
get out of
close
here,
to
is there any girls close to this? I mean, Cyborg didn't win a belt in the UFC. She didn't fight in the UFC
I think
very
all
much.
the best girls end up winning the belt.
Except for Cyborg.
And then the ones that don't, we haven't really had like a long enough time with
Right.
them.
Stuff. Because, the UFC started 31 years ago, but not for women. That started not that, 12
Ronda
years,
was
15
the
years
first,
ago?
the first female champ, and she started in what, like 2012, 11, something like that.
In the UFC, or
Yeah,
yeah.
in the UFC.
UFC.
was it that early?
Keep quick.
I thought it was later.
Fact check
No,
me.
it was wild.
Maybe 13.
No, I want to say 12. Because I think we were in high school when she was fighting, right?
I couldn't tell you.
I was in high school when
2011?
she was the
I
Strikeforce
couldn't
champ.
even be on. Like,
Well,
begin
which
to
we
tell
weren't
you.
in high school in 2012, but whatever.
2013.
13.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Kick rocks.
Yeah, you guys were fucking.
Fuck her. She sucks.
Koscheck?
I did think about Josh Koscheck,
Mm,
except for one of my favorite knockouts is when Tyron Woodley bounced his head off the fucking.
My
canvas.
favorite Tyron Woodley getting knocked out is Nate Marquardt.
Gilbert Burns. I like Gilbert Burns.
I like Gilbert.
Vittori's not another bad one.
Yeah, he's just such a fucking.
But these guys still have much more of a career.
Gilbert's
left,
window
my
is
whole
probably
thing.
closing a little bit, but he
Yeah.
still has a chance. You know what I mean? Like, especially depending if there's an upset.
Gilbert just fought he fought all the tough dudes at 55 and at 70.
But
now.
he's also a world champion in jiu-jitsu.
He gave Chimaev the what fucking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
But
Gilbert.
yes, I mean, at that rate, we could give Kamzat a
No, fuck
Fuck
him.
him.
No.
That
That dude doesn't
in the
fight.
top 15 for sure.
he gets a
doesn't fight.
cold.
He can't make weight.
What's he
he
like?
gets- he
What's he
sneezes.
like 6-0 in
if
the
Gilbert
UFC?
is going to be on the list, we got to talk about Kamzat.
Gilbert has the
It's
accolades
fair
to
'cause
back
he
it
beat-
up.
Yeah.
but Kamzat.
These are a
how many
fucking
UFC
stretch.
fights does Kamzat actually have?
It's not a lot because he doesn't
He's-
fucking fight.
outside of the Gilbert fight, he's
He
had
ducked
what
Bobby
7
Nux.
significant strikes landed on him.
Yeah.
Bobby Nux was gonna piece him
He
up.
didn't want none of Bobby Nux.
The Bob that showed up on that one.
Yeah.
Well,
Bob was gonna fuck him up.
The last thing I got to say is Volkov's going to be at the top of the list by the end of his career. So
Volkov's got a hell of a.
Unless
well,
he
may be
wins.
he may be on a different list.
champ
he may be on
list,
the
huh?
champ list. Top 10.
Could be.
He pieced up Sergey, son.
Yeah, he did. That was crazy.
All right. Any last thoughts here?
I think we nailed it. Let's go.
We crushed it. Our lists were like completely different. But
I
we crushed it.
I honestly like I said, going into this, I felt good about it, but
Can we agree that Dylan had the most whack list out of all of us?
I think
I'm gonna have to go back and re-listen because I don't remember.
Yeah.
Clay Guida, no gay guard.
Yeah.
the Gegard one upset me.
I miss
And
Yoel.
Jim
No
Miller.
Jim Miller.
I miss Yoel and Wonder Boy. I think that was my
Yeah,
big
you
fuck-ups.
kind of shit on Yoel a little bit.
Yeah.
Wonder Boy was way too high on your guys' list.
Yeah. Yoel.
You're too high.
I
I had
wish.
Yoel
About
like
to be.
5 or some shit.
All right. Is that it?
Yes.
Thanks for watching. Hey, tell us like who you think would be in this list in the comments.
Talk
This
shit. We
one
don't
is
care.
going to get ripped apart
Yeah.
by people.
Yeah.
Go hard. We want it. We welcome it.
And we're gonna post some reels about it. So go to those and shit on us for it.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. At it.
This is
shout out to Clem.
the last time he'll be here.
At
Reaper King.
underscore.
After that list, this guy's not welcome back.
Your list was better than Dylan's. I'll give you that.
I
At
have
it.
you.
One little hiccup.
I'm top 3 out of 4. I can live with that.
Still on the podium.
That's exactly right.
I'm still top 5.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just on the ground level. There's no step on there.
Get me out of here.
At HOR Podcast, Instagram, at Hungover Handwrite on TikTok. Our socials are on the screen right now. Go follow those.
Yeah, click it. Quit being a lazy fuck.
Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Later.